Good evening, everybody. I'm super excited to be with you here tonight. There's so many of you on this call, and I just did a little Facebook Live. So thank you for all the hellos that have been coming through from earlier. Karen and Anna, you're very excited about the call, and Francis, you're looking forward to it as well. So I'm assuming that you guys can see. Just maybe one of you. Hey, Sue. Nice to see you as well. So you can obviously hear me. Can you see my webcam and the PowerPoint? Just if I can get a couple of yeses happening to ensure you guys are all good, excellent, sound fine, and can see you. Yep, awesome. So I've started doing a lot more webinars with webcam on, so you can see. It's a little bit more personal, and I can show you stuff from this end, right? Thanks, Kerry and Gerda. Great to have you on the call as well. And I'm recording this, so if you are going to listen to this, I'm sure I'm going to share lots of tips that you might want to review. So very soon after we finish the call, we'll upload it to my YouTube channel, and it will be public so you guys can access it. And I'm going to share one other call that I did a year ago, almost a year ago, exactly to this date. I actually did the exact same webinar, not the same content. It was called Natasa Denman Reveals Your Plan for Success in 2016. And that was brought because of my creation of the Ultimate Success Planner for 2016, and I was teaching people how to use it. So that was the one I wanted to also share with you if you missed it last year or you weren't in my community last year, to grab it in case you do have one of my planners and you're not sure what all the areas are in there. But we'll get to that in a second. Just make sure you guys also, hey Michelle as well, make sure you can access that little chat box at the bottom of the screen. So there's the questions box and then the chat box. So any links I need to share with you will appear in the chat box where I'm going to cut and paste things so I can give you access to those things. All right, so quite a few of you have logged on. So for those of you that don't know me, let me just open my questions box. Sorry, if I'm looking this way, it's because I'm checking all the comments and questions. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Natasa Denman. I am known as the Ultimate 48-Hour Author, and you can see myself and my 3 kidlets. That photo was taken probably about a year and a bit ago. The baby's now almost 2, and this is a little bit more updated photo if you like. I started my business 6.5 years ago, and my business turned around when I firstly published my very first book, which was the 7 Ultimate Secrets to Weight Loss, bottom left of your screen. Thank you, Kerry. Kids are cute. Very cute. Baby's just having a hissy fit in the other room. I can hear as she's trying to go to sleep, but as Murphy Law says it, that they'll never go to sleep if I'm doing something. But luckily I have support. So I have to say that my husband has been in the business with me for the last 4 years this Christmas. So we're nearly at the 4-year mark, completely on our own. Doing it all, and our business has exponentially grown to the 7 figures. Now this is our 3rd year running, generating that, and purely just the 2 of us and our gorgeous virtual assistant from the Philippines, Lindy, and our amazing Facebook accounts guy who does all our advertising, which has really gone through the roof this year. So I love helping people publish their books, their very first books usually, through our retreats, Ultimate 48-Hour Author retreats, and I travel all around Australia to meet my authors. And I'm very happy to say my last 10 days I've been in 3 cities, Adelaide, Perth, and Sydney yesterday, and we've welcomed 10 or 12, it's around that figure, and still finalising numbers, brand new authors into our family. And we're now getting close to having have 150 authors. I have my vision board actually to my left-hand side. I don't know if I can turn the computer. Yeah, there you go. There's my vision board. And on this you can't see, but I do have a little thing that says 1,000 authors. So one of my visions is to have helped 1,000 authors publish their first books. And I just think by me changing their lives and then they subsequently changing other people's lives because of their growth and leverage that I create, is how I'll create that ripple effect in the world. And it's super rewarding because it just we have that the 100% completion rate, which not many other programs can sort of attest to. So that's us. And why am I an expert to talk about this subject on planning? Because so many of my followers, so many of my super fans or people that are just in my community and like to follow the content that I share always ask me, Nat, you know, your activity levels are something like we haven't seen before. How do you get to do all of that and then travel also 4 months out of the year? So this next little picture, my ultimate life, family and life, this is us. We enjoy traveling and having good quality time together, exploring new countries, having lots of like I guess connection. And my motto in life is work hard, play hard. So I've worked my butt off since I got back from Europe on the 6th of September. So it's literally been, what is it today, 28th? In 22 days, I have executed probably 7 events. And gone around to 4 countries in Australia, 4 cities in Australia, and I know that in about 10 days' time I'll be having another 2-week break and then a 2-month break over the Christmas holiday. So who on this call would like to have that kind of a life? I mean, I know maybe the intensity doesn't have to be me. Okay, good. I hope you all like to have holidays because I value that a lot, and you will see through what I've got to share with you that how I design and actually how I make that happen for myself. So great to see lots of me coming up. Awesome. So as I said, the reason I brought these came up with this webinar is because last year I created the Ultimate 2016 Planner. Actually, let me show you. So last year the planner, which I'm still using now, looked like this. So the Ultimate 2016 Success Planner, it was like a hardcover, and inside the internals were like, you know, very similar to what they look like this year. There certainly has been improvements. But last year I ran a webinar on why I put things in where I put them, and a lot of people say that this planner is the absolute ultimate solopreneur or small business owner, and especially also a mum, because it's got goal setting and weekly goals, 90-day goals, 1-year goals, 5-year visions, and the other bits that a lot of planners are missing. And why I did it was because I plan a certain way. I have I always have to attend 2 networking events a week. So I had this thing where my planner on every week would say my 2 events are, so that I would encourage other people to build their network, because we all know that your network is your net worth. And then at the bottom, you know, I have the top 6 to-do list, which makes you super productive. And then everything's vertically aligned so that you have that view, what's in the morning, what's in the middle of that day, what's in the evening, and how does your week look? You know, are you busy? Are you not so busy? So this year, you can see the 2 planners. I improved the design. I improved a little bit of the internals, but obviously went with a spiral binding and a very, very thick plastic cover, because I realized the cover of last year's wasn't that durable, and mine's still good, but some people who are a bit tough on it, it didn't have the durability, so I made sure that I made something that was going to be super, super resistant, because I use it all of the time. I believe in the power of hand to paper, pen to paper. I also use a secondary planning tool, which I'm going to turn my computer now to the other side of my wall. So on my left, or to my left, is the vision board. I wonder if I can turn it. Yep, there you go. So on that wall that you can see is my Officeworks big annual calendar, because I do a lot of speaking and a lot of events, and I want to see them at one view, how my year looks, but also translated in the planner is also that wall calendar. So there is actually those 2 pages in here where the whole everything that happens on the wall is also like there as well. So I want to share with you guys, for those of you that haven't watched last year's call, what it all was. And I hope, tell me if you want it. If you want the link to last year's call, let me know. Just comment in the box and I'll get it for you in terms of watching and reviewing what that was, because it's completely different content to what today is, and how to go about it. Cool. All right, few yeses coming through. I'll grab that soon. All right, so I've got a few computers happening around me, so I'm just managing all of this as we go along. Okay, so one thing that I wanted to really share with you first of all, which I have noticed is a lot of people love planning, okay? They love it. They love buying planners like this. They love, buying journals, gratitude stuff, and yet then they build up this stock of things, or they sit down and they have one intense planning day, and then a lot of the time their plans or their goals, they don't come true. And I figured what are the top 3 reasons why people's goals don't come true, or they don't follow through. And this is what I have determined. And these will be relevant to some of you, and for others it won't be. Okay, let me just see if I can post in the chat box. I'm just going to post it. I've had a lot of yeses come through. So I've just posted my YouTube link for last year's call in that chat box, so you can sort of click on that or save it somewhere so that you can access it afterwards to know how to use the planner properly. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, thanks. I'm just deleting the comments. I won't acknowledge them right now. Just keep asking me questions as we go along. Okay, so here we go. 3 reasons why people fail at their plans. Let's go. So number 1 is they only love the idea of planning, not so much taking actions on the plans. So this is pretty much what I just said. They love to buy a planner. They constantly attend planning webinars, planning seminars, vision boards, whatever it is, and they have every good intention at heart, but they don't. They're just in love with the idea of planning and investing in pretty stationery and all that kind of stuff. And the action part is lacking. So it's not like yeah, I believe in the universe. I totally believe in manifestation and all of that sort of stuff, and the law of attraction. But we need to take action if we're going to stay and commit to something in our planners and planning. We need to then be committed as if it's someone who is paying us, right? So just think about it. Would you ever not turn up for a paying client session? If I'm talking about sessions, because I come from a coach world, and a lot of times I'm having sessions with people in whatever shape or form there is. Actually, I'm prepping one of my authors after this webinar. She's coming to my house, and I'm working right through to 11:15 tonight. So 9:15 to 11:15. Now you're probably going, oh my God, she's crazy. She's got no balance, right? But the thing is, she was booked tomorrow. Something came up, and she's going to India on the weekend. So I didn't want to, for her to miss out to be prepped before she goes away. She asked me, can I come and do it Friday morning? And I said no, because I said Fridays I don't work. So what I find is super important for me is to have my boundaries. And my boundaries are, it's fine, I can work whatever is required. I prefer not to work nights. But like tonight, I'm already up. I'm already going to be here and all wired from all this webinar till about 9 o'clock. And I said, well, come over, 9:15, let's do it. I'll be working, may as well just work out the whole night, and then I'll have 2 spare hours free tomorrow, and I'll still have my Friday. So I don't work Friday, I don't work Saturday, I don't work Sunday. The only my other boundary around weekends, around things, is that 10 weekends of the year are allowed to be business related. Why? Because our retreats are run on weekends. Okay, so our retreats are 4 times a year, so there goes 4 weekends. And I have to say, I've been super proud of myself that only 2 or 3 other weekends have been taken up by some other things that were business related. Otherwise, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, no working, and then 10 times that it may happen to go across over that period. So I did not come to this immediately. I have streamlined my planning and my designing of my weeks and my years. Every year I get more systemized and tighter, and have my rules around. And if you have your own rules, other people will also respect them. So that's the number 1 reason why I think people fail at their plans, because they love the idea, they love to put it all down, but then they lack that taking action. All right, this one's a big one. This is the second reason why people fail at their plans. So not only are they, in love with the idea of planning, but they're notorious plan changers. And I learned a saying, and someone said that Tony Robbins said this, but that what gets scheduled gets done. And when I lock in what is scheduled on that wall calendar and on in my planner, 99.5% of the time, it does not change. It absolutely stays as it is. And if I need to adjust things, I do it. But generally, already 2017 for me, it is 80% locked in. Where I'm going to be, how long I'm going to be there, where I'm going to take holidays, and all that sort of stuff. So I have found a lot in this world of what I've been doing with the small business owners, especially event planning and setting up like webinars like this or seminars, face-to-face events. A lot of people don't give themselves enough lead up time, and they're not truly committed to seeing through, say, a specific event, and therefore they don't get enough people registering, or they don't start promoting it early enough. And what happens is they end up delaying it or cancelling it. With my Bums on Seats mastermind group, which we run at our home for the whole year, we do 12 full days of training here with the guys, and we'll be rerunning that next year. We have a 5-step oath, it's almost like the commandment of, how to get bums on seats. And number one is I will never cancel or delay an event, because that is that's how you won't monetize your business. You won't make it viable if you're not turning up when you said you're going to turn up, because people won't know to trust you that you're going to be there. And that and if you're a plan changer, then people are less likely to commit to you. So just think about, if you do change plans, not just in your business but also in your life. So everything I'm telling you guys applies across to your social network, going out for dinner to people, and staying committed to the plans that you have made for traveling, to yourself, to people that you've said you're going to travel with. Like, you got to see through what you have said. That, for me, I would have to be sick and dead in hospital to change someone's plan. When I have committed to them. So notorious plan changes, I'm sorry, but that's why plans don't follow through. And number 3 is people who set goals that are way too unrealistic, and that's why those goals or those plans don't come true. So when we start out in business, we kind of have these ideas of what success looks like. And what happens is, after we kind of think we're going to grow so fast to begin with, but the real truth is it takes 10 times longer to achieve the level of success that you envisioned when you originally started out. So say if you originally started and you thought, okay, it's going to take me 3 to 6 months to get to 6-figure business, that usually means it's going to take you 30 to 60 months to get to a 6-figure business. So we generally overestimate what we can do in a shorter period of time and underestimate what we can do in a longer period of time. I'm a perfect example of this. In the first 3 months as I signed up to be a coach 6.5 years ago, I said, I'm going to make 6 figures by Christmas, right? So it was like May. So, in 6 months' time, I was going to be a 6-figure coaching business owner. Yeah, right. I made $7,000 in my first 12 months. My 6 figures didn't come till, I would say, about month 30, right? So all of that was overestimating what I can do in that short period of time. Yet, I never started out wanting to build a 7-figure business, which now I have had for the last 3 years. So what I just said, and then I underestimated what I could do in a longer period of time, which is now 6.5 years. And I got to the 7 figures very quickly from the 6 because of that evolution. So how do we know if our goals are that we're setting are too unrealistic? Well, if you kind of are missing them by a mile, that means that you're not calibrated right. You've got to calibrate yourself right. That's what I kept doing the first 6 months. And my mentor at the time said to me, Nat, how about you pull it right back? How about you write a goal that you got your first paying client? How about you write a goal that maybe in the next 90 days you've got 5 paying clients? Don't put dollar figures around it. maybe put amount of clients you'd like to have on your books, or that you've signed up 5 new clients, that you've gotten 2 or 3 speaking gigs. So I actually pulled it right back and went very specific in terms of how many speaking gigs would I get, how many paying clients I would have. And nowadays, actually, a lot of my goals are like, how many authors will I be able to help this 90 days or over this year and all that sort of stuff. And generally, I will put a stretch goal, and if I get 80% of my goal, I'm stoked. So I actually write down percentage of goal achieved, so it doesn't feel like cross, I didn't achieve it. It's actually, well, if I achieved 70 to 80% of this, that's pretty good. So the number 3 thing what we must do is be able to calibrate ourselves, right? Take it right back to look at what's happening, what outcomes and what proof of success or what references of success have you got so far, and how can you stretch that one little next level up. Yep. So I hope this is valuable. Type up in the question box any questions, any comments, any any ideas and bits and pieces. Sonia says, will you be sending the link to this webinar recording? That yep, yeah, I will send this. Yes, you in the email that I'll send you guys for the recording. I'll still post the one that I shared just before. And I will also share the link of this one, so you'll get the 2 links as well. I always do that. Thanks, Kerry, and thanks, Sonia. Okay, let's go on to the next point. So the next one is, sorry, what's it called? I can't say because of the cameras right there. I've kind of got my PowerPoint happening on this computer as well, so I can actually see what I'm showing you guys. Okay, Kylie, if I'm breaking up a little bit, it would potentially be your internet, guys, because I would get a warning if I'm not good at your end. Hey, Ruby, thank you. She loves listening to me talk realistic and profound. Thank you. So why the hell would you want to plan right? Well, you guys tell me, why would you want to plan right? Because I have a certain amount of points that I've put on the on this PowerPoint. So you tell me, why would why do you plan? What is it that you do, or do you plan? Come on, type up some comments. Why is it important to do it? Sonia, I'm having water. I know you're a voice coach, so you always remind me to have water. Okay, Jenny says planning is hard for me. Feeling like you're on track from Francis. Yep, cool. No vision from Sonia. Okay, keeping focus from Gerda. Sue, roadmaps are easier to follow than just hoping you'll get there. Absolutely so. Sue, actually my very first point is, so you don't have to play the guessing game. She goes, drink, Nat, drink. I'm drinking. From Kerry, setting goals is hard for me as well. Yeah, it's hard until you can get yourself well calibrated, and then to stretch yourself a bit at a time. I plan so I get most things done, keeps my sanity. From Ruby, and I plan to achieve, absolutely, to keep stretching and seeing how much we've evolved and grown over the years. I always keep my planners every year. I have a spot where I kind of archive them, and my wall planners too, and then I look back at it and I go, oh my God, I just did like this. I've done 86 events this year. Now that's something, to be proud of. But what I know when I plan is that I don't have to guess. I don't have to guess where my next client's coming from. I don't have to guess, whether I'm going to be worried about my family not having food on the table, because everything that I need to do and the buffer that I build in with my plans means that we don't have to rely on anyone to employ us. We can manage our own, and planning, not just time planning, but financial planning. It's so important, because in business, things are up and down, right? And the economy sometimes is good and sometimes it's not, and that affects all business owners. Sonia says, without planning, things are rarely completed to my satisfaction, whereas planning keeps me produce massive results. So these are some of the reasons that I thought sustainable results in life and business. Absolutely. If you put your plans right and you're well ahead of yourself 6 to 8 months in advance as to what's happening, you will get sustainable results. It's not luck that we're on our 3rd year of a 7-figure business. It's because the plans keep being refined and streamlined and ensured to be executed in accordance to how they were set to begin with. So absolutely, you won't have to worry where your next dollar is coming from, and as long as you follow through what you've set out. Predictability and results. I know exactly which months I'm going to have hardly any revenue, like when I was in Europe. Luckily, Stuart was home, so he was taking care of all the inquiries, and actually we had a very good month, surprisingly, me not being present. But I also know December and January can be quiet months because I'm not really out there doing my events. So planning allows to be predictable when you're going to be busy and when you're not, and then therefore you can schedule where you can have your breaks. Okay, next one is save time and money, especially on travel. So I pre-book my travel pretty much 6 to 12 months in advance. The big trips like overseas, like USA and Europe, those kind of things get booked, 8, sometimes 9 months in advance. And all the interstate trips, so anything that I'm doing January to June will start getting booked now. And then about April, I start booking the second half of the year. So I always kind of book well in advance, even though local domestic travel does not need to be as planned. But the thing is, when I sit down, I book everything. So wherever I need to fly, whether it's Sydney, Perth, Adelaide, whatever it is, I'll sit down one afternoon and I'll just book everything at once, which means I save time by being productive, doing it all in one hit. And then I save money because I get the best deal on flights because I'm not doing it right to the wire when there's no availability and no times that I want to fly in and fly out. As Sonia said, it's rewarding to see your growth. It's super rewarding to flick back through my planners and go, oh my goodness, every single one of those names that's at the back of my planner that has become an author or a client, as I see it grow and I go, it's just so super, it brings you warmth to your heart. But also it makes you realize that you're growing, you're not staying stagnant, and you can see the results. And that's why I like actually pen to paper. Increases productivity and effectiveness. And who wouldn't want to be more productive? Because I don't know about you, but I'd rather spend more time enjoying the finer things in life, enjoying time with my family, and also though delivering an amazing experience for my clients who, if they contact me, they know that they're going to get a response, that they're not going to have any email unanswered. So my style is very quick. If I get a message, I tend to respond within under 24 hours. Of course, it's the weekend. The weekends, you know what, guys? Most people are relaxing on the weekend, so you're hardly going to get a lot of inquiries coming over the weekend. And I've noticed that over the years. As Friday afternoon rolls in, it gets really slow in terms of communication from all over the place. So something might pop up, but really you can have that time off. Your family and kids will see you more. So those were my important reasons why I make planning such a priority and why it's so important to me. And I think they're very good reasons to have a listen to what I've got to say. Say next. So what happens when something happens and you can't travel? You lose your money. Absolutely, Jenny, you do lose your money if something happens, but usually that one thing, it would be a blip in the whole plan. Those kind of things happen only less than 1% of the time. So far in 6.5 years of traveling, it's happened once because there was a near-death experience on the flight from Perth to Adelaide about a year ago, and I had to cancel my Adelaide event. I had to completely bypass because they landed us in Kalgoorlie. They sent us back to Perth overnight, which meant I completely missed Adelaide and flew into Adelaide and Melbourne straight away, and then had to come back to Adelaide, which I was doing so anyway the following week, and did the workshop then. I didn't lose out really, money. Maybe a couple of people couldn't return the following week from my Adelaide event. But that is only 1% in 6.5 years. I would say it's pretty safe to say if anything does happen, you can build that in. And anyway, for me, it's a business expense as well. So yes, Yeah, I don't think I don't worry because actually I'm not a plan changer, and I don't delay or cancel things. So therefore everything kind of runs on time, and I always build in buffers around the things that I do. So the next one is, when should you plan? So I have, and of course I'm sharing this from my personal experience. So when should you plan? There's certain times of the year and times of the month that that I plan, and actually in the planners, on the 1st of January, on the 31st of March, on the 30th of June, and 30th of September, it says set your next 90-day goals. And earlier today, I was just sitting with my planner, and I thought, oh my God, what date is it? It's the 28th of September, right? And I had a couple of hours spare earlier today, and I go, okay, time to flick it across and go to the next 90-day goal. So I'm almost there. I'm more than half the page. At the backs of this planners, yeah, it says, and then it says the 31st of December 2016, and I have, and then I've got like obviously the other quarters and what percentage of those goals I have achieved. So I actually started working on my goals a couple of days early. So 30th of September, you guys, you need to sit down and do your final quarter goals. 1st of January, you do your annual goals, and you do your first quarter goals. So every 90 days, and this is like religious, that's why it's actually already pre-typed into the planner, because it says do your 90-day next 90-day goals, and there is a formula that I teach in here on how to set them right. I'm in the present tense as if you're in possession with them, and also engage your modalities. I hear, I feel, I see when you have achieved that goal, and then having a reward. What will be your reward as a result of having achieved that plan? Okay. Next lot of time when I do planning, and I recommend that you do, and that's why this webinar is happening right now, is April and October each year for your 6 months. So generally October, I would plan the first 6 months of 2017, which are already done. And then April, I'll sit down and heavily plan and book things for the second 6 months. Now, I also do the whole year, but I look at it more seriously, like when I'm only 3 months away from that following 6 months. Jenny just says, that sounds okay then. And Angela says, how long do you spend on planning each quarter? Literally, how long did it take me to write my 3 goals earlier? 15 minutes, half an hour. That's pretty much how long. I'll look at the last quarter goals, see what I've achieved, and how I want to stretch, and ask myself, what do I want? What do I want this quarter? And then check in on my 1 year goals as well. So think a complete amount of time of 1 year. This 6 months planning can take a little bit longer. You might want to sit down, especially if you're booking flights and accommodation and things like that. If you're going places, then I would sit down and probably might even spend 2 to 4 hours doing it and just putting it all in and firming everything up. Now that I go to similar places or same places in the different cities, Stuart has I've outsourced my booking of venues and flights to him, and my virtual assistant does. So kind of a lot of my planning logistics of travel now can be handed over to someone else. But I was doing them up until about 8 months ago myself. So now I just have to set the dates, and they need to like call all the people. What do you use your VA for? I use my VA for all my event logistics. So Frances, when you came to that workshop the other day, she's the one that sent you guys the 10 days out email, the 3 days out, the 1 day out, the text messages that came from her. She sends out my postcards after events, which you guys get a photo of in the postcard to say thank you for being at the event. So yeah, so no, they're not automated emails, Francis. They're actually documented in her, I guess, calendar of what it is, and she needs to send them out, and they come when they need to, because our things always change. So yeah, we don't have that kind of a system. She's my automation, and she does an amazing job. And many other activities like Facebook. She works full time, and she'll be entering, for example, the people who registered for the call tonight into our database. or checking if they're already in there. If not, if they're not in there, then she'll enter them, and at the end of entering everything, she'll tell me how many unique brand new people we have got into the database now. And then Stuart's going to, I'll upload the recording, and Stuart has got the follow-up email set up and ready to go. So we're now in a really awesome, we know what the system is when we run a webinar, the follow-up, the lead up, the aftermath, everything that happens, it happens all very, very quickly and easily and systematically. Okay, the next one is first week of every month, your financial planning or bookkeeping. So in these planners, I also have on the 3rd of every month where it says time to do your bookkeeping, right? Because so many people can leave their bookkeeping for months and months and months, and then they sit down to do it and they've forgotten half the things, what they were and what they are. But more importantly, I love bookkeeping myself because I actually get to see, my accrued revenue, year to date, expenses. Are we spending too much money in one area, and or could we spend more money? You know what I mean? What cash flow has come in? How it's tracking on tax and GST, because when you run a 7-figure business, you pay 6 figures in tax. That's just the way things are, and that's an awesome thing to do because you know what? That just means you're making good profits, and but you've got to be very mindful because you have to manage your own cash flow. So it's good to get into the habit. I don't care if you're $0 into your business. My beginning of my business, when I had my first mentor, Peter, he said to me, Nat, every week you pull out your Excel spreadsheet and you're going to put week beginning this date, week ending this date, and you're going to have income at the top, and you're going to write down what income you've had, and you're going to have an expenses little area at the bottom and what expenses and what dates they were spent, and then at the bottom you'll have a little balance sheet. Very simple. I didn't have MYOB or anything, and for the first, I reckon, 30, or not 30 weeks, yeah, probably 30 weeks, I had nothing in my income bracket at the top. And I kept putting expenses because I was investing things and I was creating, but I wasn't getting clients. You guys heard I only made $7 grand in my first 12 months. And so, but I got into the habit that every Sunday I'd sit down and I'll document everything that went out for the business and what came in. And very slowly I started getting little income things coming in, book sales from my first book and some client, payment plans that happened. And because I was just got into the habit of doing it, I felt like something was missing on a Sunday if I didn't do that simple spreadsheet of what was in and out. And of course, later on with getting a MYOB and knowing how to do it properly electronically, because now it's all very proper, right? We sit down within the first week, so say next week, we've got on our schedule a time where Stuart and I spend 2 hours and we reconcile our whole month, and then we know financially where we are. Have we done good? Where do we need to improve? Do we need to, slow down the spending or whatever it is? So very, very important. That's your financial planning and seeing where you're at. Then Sunday nights or Monday morning for the week ahead. So I like doing it on Sunday. I like to have like an hour of power on Sunday, because then that sets me up really nicely for the week, and I don't wake up Monday morning going, oh, I've got to do my exercise now. What am I doing for the day? I already know if I'm doing any speeches, my PowerPoints are ready. I know the coffee chat's happening 9 a.m. on Monday, so I don't have the time to be planning Monday mornings. But for those of you that absolutely don't want to touch anything on a Sunday, then Monday morning, maybe get up an hour earlier and set up your week accordingly for what's coming up. So I tend to just look at what appointments, then confirm via SMSs, the ones that are happening on Monday. And then also if I have any speaking gigs or a webinar such as this, I would work on my PowerPoint, because I hate doing PowerPoint, and I would compile everything and pull it all together, because I've got a lot of PowerPoints. So kind of very rarely would I need to start from absolute scratch. So I get those ready because they're my pet hate. So I do the worst thing first, right? What they say in that book, Eat the Frog. Do the worst thing first, and then you'll be happy. You'll smash out your week. And then when you're launching something new, or you must change your game plan. So when you're launching like a new program, a new incentive, a new something that you're going to have a funnel of how it's going to happen, and you need to change your strategies of how you're doing things because maybe things have stopped working. That's when you got to sit down and discuss it, maybe run by ideas by other people and set those plans into it. So that's a more ad hoc type of planning. But every time, during the year, I go, well, what's working really well? What can I do better? I'm always figuring out how can I keep improving my delivery? How can I change something in a presentation or in my PowerPoint or say something at a different time or say it maybe slightly differently and start to notice the intricate differences in how you're delivering. And because ultimately our success is hidden behind our communication to our target market. So so tell me, has this given you some insight? Do you guys have specific times when you do your planning? Because this, as you see it on this slide, is the way I do it, and it's kind of religiously, pretty much. Like I always sit down on those dates. If not a day or two earlier, like I have, like getting like all excited about it. I always like go, okay, because I don't want no ad hoc. I don't want to be guessing. These are the times that when I sit down. Sue's saying yes. Kira says I sometimes have planning and other times not. Yeah, so for me, this is consistent. Year in, year out, month in, week in. So you can see there's weekly on Sunday nights, there's monthly at the start of the month with the financials, and then there's quarterly and yearly. So and then six monthly as well. Sue says, hitting me over the head, got to be done. Yes. And Kylie, find it hard to be consistent and persistent with it. Have a lot to learn from Jenny. Yeah, absolutely. And really the key, and a lot of people say this to me, but they say, Nat, you should teach people how to be consistent and disciplined because that's your biggest skill behind why you've achieved the success that you have. But people don't buy consistency and discipline, even though I believe those traits are so important. Now, I was reading a book on the plane the other night that was suggested to me by a guy that I was at my workshop in Adelaide last week. And I read it cover to cover because I couldn't be stuck doing anything else on the plane, so I just read the whole book. It's called The Miracle Morning. And that book talked about this aspect of why, the biggest way we can achieve our goals is if we're accountable to someone. So also, you guys know, I was telling you about our author retreats and programs and why we have 100% completion rate is because these guys are accountable to us and they have skin in the game as well, which, it's a high-end program. So, so what he said, why we avoid actually planning and being accountable to ourselves is because when we were little kids, and you tell me if you feel this way, but when we were little kids, we're kind of accountable to our parents, and our parents are saying, you have to do this, and because you're a kid, you have to do it because you don't want your parent to be angry at you or whatever it is. So we start to resent that accountability that we get raised by. And then when we become adults, we're like, we hit the age of 18 or whatever it is, for anyone who when they become independent and go, woohoo, now I can do whatever I want, right? I'm not accountable to anyone. And what happens is the accountability even to ourselves stops. Yet the commitment that you make, the strongest commitment should be the commitment that you make to yourself, okay? Because the only person that you're letting down by not being successful is you and those people that you should be serving. So that's why we actually fail to be accountable to ourselves when we make our commitments or follow through on our plans, is because in a way it's a bit, what's the word? We are being, not dishonoring, rebellious. The word is rebellious. We're being rebellious towards what we experience growing up as children. Yet, we know that when we commit to someone else, for example, we commit to a mentor, we commit to a program, we commit to working with someone else, because we're paying the money, we kind of, like me being committed to my personal trainer, there's an investment there that I'm going to get up because I've committed to her and I'm accountable to her to be there. So that's one insight that I had from that book, and I hope you can see that for yourself. But really, it's about stepping up and taking responsibility. All right. So where do you start with planning? And you'll love this one. Okay. Who's the author? Let me look. Because it's in my Kindle, and so the Miracle Morning. If you Google it, you'll find it. It's like a yellow book, and the author is Hal Hal Elrod, Elrod, I think. The Miracle Morning, the 6 habits that will transform your life before 8 a.m. Cool. Hailey says, yeah, I can so relate to this. Awesome. All right, here we go. You'll love this one. Number 1, where do you start with planning? So let me just move across this. Okay. Holidays and rewards, right? Start with the end in mind. So why the hell are you doing what you're doing? And I'm sure a lot of us are doing it because we want to help other people. Number 1, I don't even need to say that. If you're in business or you're raising a family and you're not in business, we're doing it because we want to raise a well-balanced family. We want to teach we're great models for our children. So that could be one reason we're helping our own family, or vice versa, we're helping and serving clients. We were put on this earth to contribute and to grow. That's without a doubt. But at the same time, we also, number 1, have to look after ourselves in order to help all of these other people that we have been put on this earth to help, like our children, our partners, our mothers, fathers, grandparents, and our clients. We need to look after ourselves as well. And ultimately, why we do what we do is because we also want to have a life. We also want to experience, new things and see things and have wonderful memories, because ultimately, I think we remember more the memories that we build and that we invest in than the things that we possess. And that's where I spend most of my money. I spend my money on memories and experiences over things. So holidays and rewards always going first. And that's your why. Like, when are you going to take a break? If you don't schedule a break, you're never going to stop. So when I do my plan, I use a black texter and I choose, block out all the weeks that are going to, be fully no clients, no events, no retreats, no nothing. And I'm going to be going to different places. And that's where I start. And also then I go, well, are there certain things I want to reward myself by when I have set my goals, so that that can be my driving factor. And I don't get my rewards unless I achieve my goal. Lisa Marie says, hey, lovely, can we get a copy of these also? Yes, the slides will also come in that email with the recording, right? I always send you guys everything. Okay, so number 2 is goals, realistic ones and well-calibrated ones. We talked about this. Okay, so this is the vehicle to get you to your why. Your goals need to be well aligned and enough of a stretch for you to feel tension in your mind and your body, that you go, I'm not quite there, but I really want to get there. The start of this year, when I started the author program, my goal was to host 4 retreats with 10 authors per year. And the first year I had the full year, I said, okay, so that's a goal of 40. And I got to 35. And then the following year, I stretched myself to 60 and said, okay, I'm going to do 60, which was quite scary because I didn't even hit the 40. But I go, look, I'll just do a stretch because I got close to 40. I was 5 off. And then I got to 51. The second year. And this year, I said I wanted to help 100 authors, so have 100 authors commit to my program. And I go, I know realistically probably not going to hit 100, but I go, if I hit 80, would I still be happy? Of course I would be happy. I said, even if I just passed my goal from the previous year by 1, I would be happy. And I'm 10 ahead of on last year. I think I'm up to 64 or 5, something along those lines. And I think I'm well on track to get to that 80. So, so again, looking at past results and seeing how I can stretch them, and maybe how is it that I can fine tune so that I can get that higher result, and really how can I do it better. So goals, realistic and calibrated. So that's your why, also the vehicle to get your why. Then you go into the what. So what kind of activities do I need to do to get that number, if it's a number, right? For me, it's like, how many of my introductory seminars do I have to host? Because I know my numbers in terms of, well, how many people will I have at an event? How many will I have a chat with? How many will commit to my program? So all of those numbers, there's obviously a pattern that develops. Now, I know you guys, some of you may not be as far in or know those kind of things, but I've always in the past known, okay, well, if I'm just putting out lots of marketing and I'm doing lots of events and having lots of, if you like, introductory conversations, whatever you want to call them, then it's a numbers game. At a point, you're going to get a stack of no's. I still get so many no's, but I've become accustomed to it. I just know that, okay, that no, it gets me closer to the next yes. It's another no. Sometimes the no's can come in a very, very long succession, and then I'll get and then I'll kind of go, oh my God, it's all hopeless. And then I'll get this opportunity where I get like a stack of yeses in a row, and I go, what's happening right now? How come everyone is saying yes? So just know that your activities have to align, because if you say you're going to make a six-figure business, like what are the amount of activities and how many people do you need to speak to generate those six figures? So do you need to have 100 conversations with potential clients, of which 15 to 20 of those may become your clients? Work on a 10 to 15% say success rate to begin with, and then go, okay, so how am I going to generate those 100 conversations? Okay, do I need to speak in front of 20 groups of 20 people, right? Or do I need to host some of my own events? Because it's, again, if everything got funnels. So if you speak in front of, so my funnel last year, just off the top of my head, looked like, well, last year I stood in front of 3,000 people. Out of those 3,000 people, 400 people came to my introductory event for authors. Out of those 400 people, 220 people said, yes, I want to have a qualifying conversation with you. And out of those 200 people, 51 people became my authors. Now, that's quite a significant difference from 3,000 down to 51. And you go, oh my God, that's a lot of work. But hey, that's what sales and marketing is about. And some of those people that didn't become authors, they bought other things, or they became some kind of a lower cost product or service that I was selling type of client. So that's what I'm going to say about that. Next one is actions. What gets scheduled gets done. We talked about that. So which means that if you are going to run events, if you are going to turn up at certain places at certain times because there is opportunities to market and sell what it is that you're marketing and selling, then you need to work out, is there a lead up period I need to plan? What are all those actions? So Francis said just earlier, what does your VA do? Well, it takes a lot of the administrative actions that I was taking by myself only 8 months ago. I've only been with her for 9 months now. But prior to that, all of last year, me and Stuart were doing all of those and not missing a beat, because if you're going to pay a stack of money to advertise for your business, you want to make sure that you're seeing that through and following through. And then having a backup plan. So what if? So we talked about the trip from Perth to Adelaide last year with the unfortunate accident on the plane. So what if? What happened? It was 11 p.m. at night. I was on the way back to Perth. Stuart was like, realized that I wasn't going to make it to Adelaide. There was no flights. So we were on the internet, him from home, I'm from Perth, looking for flights to get me to Adelaide in time for my workshop. No, there was nothing. So then the next thing, emailing, phoning, texting everyone to say, please don't turn up to the event. You won't be there. And then working out what was the alternative, what can we do to compensate or invite them to come along the following week. So lots of things happened and they were activated immediately so that there was no pissed off people at us, if you like. So that's the order that I would go about putting your plans into action. So here are my 3 rules to success. We covered off the very first one earlier, that it takes 10 times longer to achieve what you originally planned and thought was going to happen. But just trust that we overestimate what can happen in the shorter period of time and underestimate what we can do in a longer period of time, like say 5 or 10 years. I think we grow a lot faster. Number 2 is don't be too precious to change. If something is not working, change it. Adjust it. If something is working, please don't stop doing it until it stops working. Sometimes it may seem like the oddest idea or strategy, and if it's working, they say don't change it, especially if it's around marketing or sales. And last of all is create what others keep asking from you. So the reason I created the planners, the reason I'm talking about planning is because all of the time people are going, Nat, how do you go all of these places? How do you coordinate of this? Your systems are so good. We just feel that, you're always thinking or responding, and, I'm sure you have like a super crazy life. Let me take a drink of water. But it's not like that. Every 6 months I look at how can I streamline and refine everything so that the whole point of building a business is so that we don't have the type of life that it would be in a 9-to-5 job. So guys, my invitation to you is, if you don't have and if you haven't put your what am I doing here? Hang on a second. If you haven't put your hand up for a planner, and you do want to get one, I'm going to share in the chat box now the link where you can actually go and grab yourself one of the planners. So as I said before, I don't know if you can still see my webcam. Hang on a tick. I can't see myself. It's kind of disappeared somewhere. I hope you can see me. But the Ultimate Success Planner, we only print a limited amount of copies of these. They're black or pink. And I think there's kind of a little special for like a bundle of 2 if you have a friend that you want to team up with to buy the planners, and then we'll post them out to ASAP. And the second opportunity that I have, but it's only very, very limited, and it's only for people in Melbourne, unless you want to fly in, because I actually have 4 people flying in from interstate the week after. I'm running 2 VIP marketing days or planning days at our home in Diamond Creek. And those planning days are scheduled for 11th of October and 10th of November. And Francis, I know you're on the list for 11th of October. And we did these last year, and they were super successful. We only did one, and then people said, can you run another one? And so we opened up a second date, which this year I just decided I'm going to start off with 2 dates. And they're already pretty much, as you can see, the first one is nearly booked out with 2 spots left. And then there's the 10th of November one with 5 spots left. We are going to live stream as well. So if you are from interstate, we are going to have a live streaming option available. I don't have a link for that, but the investment in that option will be $97. The face-to-face thing will be $597. It includes either you can get one of these planners or the whiteboard calendar. So you can choose one or the other that I would supply for you. Obviously, food on the day, and we basically plan out all of 2017. You actually get to do it. So there's like 2 hours where you're sitting down and planning out all of your year. The 2 bonuses that I have for the call today is that you can choose one of my 7 books. There's 7 books which you saw at the very beginning. I'll show you that in a minute. And also a 12 months Inner Circle membership. So the Inner Circle membership is 12 webinars for 90 minutes, marketing webinars for just my paying clients that we actually host every single month. So which means not only are you doing your whole day planning, but then you're actually getting on and implementing and adjusting throughout the year. So you can choose whichever one of those books. So yeah, the investment is $597 because it's quite a small group, only up to only 10 people, no more, because we want to keep them intimate and help everybody. So what I'm going to do now is ask for any questions, comments that you may have. And I've posted in the chat box the 2 links. I've posted the ClickFunnels, the planner link, and also the PayPal payment link for the planning day, which is for the $597. So, yes, Leanne says, I have my planner and it's beautiful. Sally, I'm at the planning day. Yes, you are, Sally. You're on my list, and Francis can't wait. Sonia, now is the Bums on Seats in October 2016 the same content as Bums on Seats March? Yes, the one in Brisbane, Sonia, in March will be the same as the Melbourne one. So you just need to have, let me know which one you want to come along to, the Brisbane or the Melbourne one. So yes, it will be the same. And Gerda is can't wait for her 11th of October day, and she's coming down from Brisbane to attend these face-to-face days. So as I said to you guys, last year we had 5 interstate people come along for the first day, and this year we have 4 as well. Am I on the 10th of October? Not sure, Jenny. I have to check that. I'm not sure if this was one of your bonuses that we had when you signed up, but I'll have a look for you for sure. Getting confused as to what I'm coming to. Don't worry, you get an email from me always 10 days out before I actually run the event, so you'll know, and I'll check in for you what actually who's on the list and all that sort of stuff. So the last quote that I had for you guys on this call was plan your work and work your plan, from the very famous Napoleon Hill. And I think, yeah, as I said, do the plan, but then be committed and stick out your schedule, because what gets scheduled and gets done, and that commitment that you've made, it's not just to yourself and your clients. The biggest thing is that it is made to yourself, and that the accountability that you have, and keep working on being more accountable to yourself, because the results, I don't know, if I let myself down, it actually feels worse than letting other people down, which I never would anyway. So I better get off the call. I know I usually love to stay for questions and answer anything further, but as I said, in 10 minutes time, I have a 2-hour session with another one of my gorgeous authors. So she'll be coming to my place, and we'll be sitting and unpacking and getting it ready, so while she's away for 6 weeks, she can knock this over. Have an amazing night. I look forward to seeing some of you at the planning day that's coming up, and then also sending out a few more of the planners, for those of you that grab them. And you're welcome. And see you soon, Ruby. And thank you, Sue and Lisa Marie, and everyone sending lots of thank yous. And I can't wait to share some of other gold with you in the future. See you guys. Thank you. You're welcome.